So this is George from Ireland carrying on my Foreign and Commonwealth Office video. And I'll actually just go a bit closer. I'll show you the whole thing, the whole width of it from across the street. But if I go closer, the angle might not be so good, but you'll see things a bit better. So it's showing you King Alfred under there. And I noticed they've got leaves beside them. It's also always the same lot of leaves, but they're no particular significance. They're not shamrocks, so they're laurels wreaths, that's it. Laurel wreaths. Edward the Confessor, of course, who died in January 1066 and all that. So he went to school in Ely. That's why they call it called King's School Ely. When the Danes came in, he fled to Normandy, grew up there in Normandy, and was close to his relative, William the Duke of Normandy. William the Bastard, some people called him, bastard by name and nature, but they were trying to say he was born outside of wedlock. And Edward the Confessor, who was married to Edith Godwinson and had no children. Some people said it was he was so holy he refused to have carnal knowledge of his wife. Others say, well, they just didn't have children for whatever biological reasons. We have no idea they didn't consummate his marriage. And he's the one who built Westminster Abbey, which is the major achievement of his reign. And his slippers still exist, King Edward's shoes, and at a coronation, those were touched on the legs. Oh my God, look at this cardinal. The shoes were touched on the legs of the king or queen being crowned. It's only Charles I insisted on actually putting his feet inside them, when they must be very frail, those slippers now. Okay, Ethelbert, another Anglo-Saxon king, and look at these figures up here. I'm not quite sure who they're supposed to represent. A bare-chested angel there. Now, ooh, I can get a bit of zoom. What am I thinking about? Yes. We want some zoom. Okay, so there's Edward the Confessor, and there's Alfred. Okay, there's the angel I'm talking about. And right up there, more of them. Britannia on the right with her shield. Okay, and Britannia way up high, and various other classical figures. They don't make them like that anymore. Anyway, we shall go on. So, see over here, we've got Smith as in Adam Smith, The Wealth of Nations, that Scottish academic who was severely Asperger's syndrome. James Watt, the scientist and inventor. Bacon, okay? We're talking about Francis Bacon, the early 18th century figure. His father, Nicholas Bacon, was a distinguished judge from St Albans. No relation to Roger Bacon, that medieval monk from Oxford, who made all sorts of scientific discoveries. And there was a wonderful building, Roger Bacon's cell, like a monk's bedroom is called a cell, which was just out of Folly Bridge in Oxford, stood there for centuries. And unfortunately, they demolished it in the 18th century. It was impeding the traffic. Joshua Reynolds, a painter, helped to found the Royal Society of Arts. Sinclair, don't know who he was, or indeed Gascoigne, who was a medieval figure, as his ancestors would have come from Gascony, which is southwest France. Okay, now look at these mythical figures. These muses, ladies, what do they represent? Law in one case. I'll go a bit closer then. And you can see how it's very much neoclassical. So they're inspired by ancient Greece and Rome and agriculture. Okay, who's she got? These angels beside her holding corn, and she's wearing, is it corn in her hair as well? An unusual hairstyle. And look at the handicraft went into that, carving all these relief sculptures. Art. I mean, did they make the sculpture somewhere else and bring it here? I don't think so. You can see the crowns up above. Obviously, you can get much more detail in these ones, and she's got an artist's palette and things like that, and a painting there. And over here, the angels, besides science, hold various books to her, and then the symbol of Aesculapius, the twined snakes, because if you milk the fangs, you produce an antivenom. VR for Victoria Regina. They might have begun it under Victoria, but I'm pretty sure they only finished this under Edward VII's son. Manufacture. Okay, I don't think the Greeks have one of those. And look, she is, well, one of her breasts is bare, holding an amphora of I don't know what. Was it a beehive? And something for tying up ship's ropes, things like that. Well, I've really got to send your goods abroad. And here we have commerce, two more angels. And I'm not sure the items she's supposed to be holding. And here we have literature. Okay? And then you look at these supposed columns, they're not really supporting things, they're just decorative. And all the detail we have up there. So you see the motifs are the same all the way along, and this unnecessarily tall door. It's not like Russia. Oh, these people give you an idea of the scale of the door. They're not standing quite beside the door. Anyway, and they've even got VR in the middle of the door, both of them. Because remember in Russia they'll actually have a door in the door, because 2/3 of it will never open, and the lower bit will actually be openable. So we're on a street called Whitehall. So over here we've got government represented by a man, well, and he's bare-chested, he's got a crown that looks almost like a castle, and holding a rod of office. Would it be a scepter? Okay, wearing some sort of Roman toga affair. And the Romans tended to be clean-shaven, not you were barbarian if you had a beard. Okay, Europe, with a horse beside it, the trident, as in 3 teeth, that 3-pronged fork, and the ship which is setting sail across the globe. And over here we've got Asia. Again, he's wearing this semi-translucent top, and one breast is bare, the Asian elephant beside her. Okay, and further along we have Africa, who's completely bare-breasted. She's got a hippo in the background, and look at those very broad leaves, and her infant is nestling at her feet. And she got one foot in the river, I suppose. And America, again, America is also topless and holding on to various leaves. And what is that cloth being peeled back beside her? And wearing some sort of peculiar headdress. And here we have Australasia with the sheep at her feet. She's a shepherdess holding that crook, and two kangaroos beside her. And over here we have education, who is male, looking at various things. So anyway, that is the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and obviously all sorts of people go to work there every day in their various meeting rooms. Some meeting rooms have got 2 doors, so leaders of different countries can enter at the same moment, not have to lose face before them. Look at the 3 lions of England there, originally of Normandy. Okay, and various monarchs up here. Edward VII, if I've got that right. And this is at Downing Street, as in where the Prime Minister lives. And more of these I can't see because of the angle. All right, so Downing Street, named after Sir George Downing, that 17th century Irish political figure who was probably born in Dublin, so everything was born here. And he was involved in the English Civil War, was a parliamentarian, but when Charles II came back, the Restoration, he turned his coat and he worked for Charles II, who completely forgave him, and his house was here. He was Chancellor Exchequer. Sir George Downing, he helped, you can see it there, actually in the distance, he helped track down and kill his former comrades on the parliamentarian side. So, you know, the wages of sin are actually fantastic. When he died, he left that to the nation, and Prime Ministers have lived in there since 1721, so Robert Walpole, the first Prime Minister. Now you might think Downing College, Cambridge, is that the same bloke? No, it's his grandson, also called Sir George Downing, who founded that. That's Downing Street. When I was a little boy, you could walk up and down this, there's nothing to stop you. It's only in Margaret Thatcher's time they put up this security fence, and Blair kept it there. Alright, so this street is called Whitehall, not Whitehall Street, always just known as Whitehall, because there was a Whitehall Palace here, which burnt down in 1698. The banqueting house down there is the only bit of it still left. As for the banqueting house, you can see things. You can see it up there where the yellow flags are. Anyway, so this is the cenotaph, meaning empty tomb in ancient Greek, and this is the focal point of the commemorations on Remembrance Sunday, which is the nearest Sunday to the 11th of November. As in the First World War, the armistice began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, as in 11 o'clock in the morning. And you can see various flags there. Nearest us is the flag of the Royal Air Force. The Indian Air Force has a similar design. Obviously the roundel is different colours, opposite to the Indian national flag. And then there's the British flag, and then there's the red ensign, which is for the merchant navy, as in not warships, just delivering things, but many merchant seamen were killed because their ships were being sunk by U-boats. The glorious dead. And look, it's got the years, 1919. But you might think, but the war ended in 1918. Well, the thing is, the Treaty of Versailles wasn't signed until the 28th of June 1919. So strictly speaking, the war was on until that happened. So that's why they didn't know the war was actually over. And then on the left, they got the white ensign, as in the flag of the Royal Navy. Obviously, they got the Union flag in the middle. Don't call it Union Jack unless it's flown from the jack deck of a ship. I'm not sure what the blue ensign is, as in with the British flag in the top left-hand corner, and the field is navy blue. So, anyway, various dignitaries will come to the Foreign Commonwealth office at least an hour before, by 10 o'clock at the latest, and they're going to have tea and snacks in there, and they'll be dressed soberly, and they'll come out here, and the crowd is very densely packed around here. I've been here, was lucky to get within 100 metres of it, But the crowd is thinning out as these wars are very different memories. But it's not just for the Second World War and the First World War, it's for all subsequent conflicts the United Kingdom was involved in. There'll be a gun will go off for Horse Guards Parade, which is over there, behind that building, as the bell strikes 11, the clock strikes 11, and there'll be the 2-minute silence broken by the Reveille played, so the last post played rather, which is what you play at a military funeral, and then there's a wreath laying. Her Majesty the Queen lays the first, so that the dignitaries come out of that door there, and some members of the royal family will be up here watching from the balcony, and then after her, the Prime Minister will lay a wreath, and the leaders of the various Westminster political parties will lay wreaths, and then the High Commissioners of various Commonwealth countries will lay wreaths, and that's that. And the Bishop of London will lead the prayers. The officer commanding London District is an army officer, he will lay a wreath, and blah blah blah. And then there'll be a march past, and there'll be the band of one of the Brigade of Guards regiments, and they'll strike up a merry up-tempo tune, and lots of veterans will march past, some of them are in wheelchairs. I even saw some First World War veterans before the last of them passed away, Harry Patch some years ago. Okay, so you can see some wreaths are still there, the red wreaths, the poppies, as in Flanders Fields, which is what John McCrae, that Canadian Army doctor, wrote in his poem Flanders Fields about the poppies that grow row on row in Flanders Fields, because Flanders is southern Belgium, and in the west the main battlefields were northern France and in Belgium, and that's why they had the idea of having the poppy as a symbol of the First World War, of people donating money to get a poppy, wearing a poppy the first 2 weeks or so of November, and donating some money to these veterans, to these widows, orphans and so on. It's the Earl Haig Fund. General Haig from the First World War, he set up the Earl Haig Fund. So we sometimes call it the Poppy Appeal. All right, that's enough from Whitehall.